I'm going to begin this sample sized for you by casting on, and I do that in the usual way with a slip knot. And then what I've found works best for this shawl, gives me just the right amount of tension in the cast on, is a knitted cast on. So I do that by going into that slip knot, or into the stitch made by the slip knot, as if to knit, and then with my working yarn, again as if to knit, pull up a loop, and instead of dropping this original stitch off the needle, I am going to place the new loop onto the left hand needle, so I have 2 stitches, and then I do the same again, go in as if to knit, yarn over the needle, pull up that loop and place the loop on the left hand needle. And because it's a sample size, I'm going to do 33 stitches in this way. I'm going to actually start with 30, and then I'm going to do slightly differently at the end. So let me just do that for you now. You'll notice I'm a Continental knitter, so I hold my yarn in my left hand, but it works just the same if you are a thrower. I just happen to have learnt that way. On the actual shawl, you've seen the pictures at the beginning of the video, I've used a yarn cake, but I'm just for the purposes of hopefully you being able to see this clearly, just using a yarn of one colour. So there's 30, and just I found I'm getting a little bit of a baggy stitch at the end, so to make sure that doesn't happen, I'm going to cable cast on the last 3 stitches. So you put your needle in between the last 2 stitches and then knit through there, and in the same way put the new loop on the needle. So that's 1, and then I do it again, 2, and then the last one, 3. Okay, now the next task of this 33 stitches, you'll find on the pattern it's actually 270, but for this one it's just a little sample to show you the sort of techniques you might need. So, and then the first row I'm just going to knit to the last 3 stitches. Okay, there we go, and there are now 3 stitches on the left hand needle that have not been worked, and I'm just going to turn the work round, and this is where I'm going to show you the German short row stitch. So you place the right hand needle purlwise into the first stitch on the left hand needle, and you're going to slip it over the stitch onto the right hand needle, at the same time pulling back quite tightly the working yarn to the back of the work, so you end up with this little double stitch here, a stitch with 2 legs, and then you carry on and knit the next 2, and then place a marker, stitch marker, and carry on and knit to the last 3 stitches on the row. Okay, there are my last 3 stitches, and again at this point I turn the work round, and again this German short row stitch, let me show you that again. Slip the stitch purlwise onto the right hand needle from the left hand needle, at the same time pulling the yarn, the working yarn, to the back of the work quite tightly, and then continue to knit 2 more stitches before you place a marker, and knit to the marker. What I really like about this shawl, starting at the long end, means that every row gets smaller and smaller. You use fewer and fewer stitches than the previous row, and that way it doesn't feel like such a daunting task. There we are, reached the marker, turn the work, remove the marker, and German short row again, and in the pattern this is written as GSR. Slip that stitch purlwise onto the right hand needle, pulling the working yarn back, knit the next 2 and place the marker, and again knit to the marker. And from this point on, for quite a while, every row is written in the same way, so it's just a repeat. So we're just knitting to the marker, and when you reach the marker you turn the work, remove the marker, and German short row. There we go, pull that over and stitch 2 more, just knit them, place the marker and knit to the marker. It's very easy. It's a really good one for binge watching Netflix or something. Okay, there's the marker. So turn the work, remove the marker, slip that stitch purlwise, the German short row stitch, stitch 2 more and replace the marker and knit to the marker. There we go, reached the marker. So I'm turning the work, removing the marker, German short row stitch, knit 2 more, replace the marker and knit to the marker. Okay, there it is. Turn the work. So it goes so fast. I mean, this is a very small piece obviously, but it does go quite quickly. There we go, 2 more, replace the marker and knit to the next marker. There we go, and turn the work. Remove the marker, German short row, GSR, knit 2 more, place the marker, and at this point you can see that actually between the markers there are just 3 stitches. So carry on, knit those 3 stitches, turn, remove that marker and put it down, you don't need it. German short row stitch as usual, GSR, knit those 2. Now because you've just passed the middle of the work, actually those 3 stitches are the middle of the work, you can then remove that marker and carry on in this way. So we're now going to knit all the way down here, and as we go along we will encounter those little short row stitches. There they are, there's the first one. So you can see it's got a little V shape here, and you want to knit under both of those legs. So you place your needle underneath, there you go, and it looks like you have now a figure of 8. So you want to make sure the needle is going under both parts of that stitch, and then just knit as normal. And off it goes. And here's another couple of ordinary stitches, and there again, easily spottable, is that German short row stitch. So go under both parts of that and knit, and off it goes. A few more to do. There it is again, through both parts, and off it goes. And there's another one, and knit through there, and then the last 3 stitches are just straight stitches, so knit those. Okay, and then turn the work, and of course we've only gone through and knitted half of the German short row stitches, so we have to go back and do the rest. So we start with knitting, and we do this until we get to the first little short row stitch. A fair whizzing along now. There we go, there's the first one. See that little V, and knit both legs of that, and off it goes. And there's another one, both together, and off it goes. What I love about German short rows is there's no wrapping and turning and no little gaps. There's another one, and it's just the easiest way I found to do short rows. I absolutely love it. It's the only one I ever used, to be honest. There's another one, and they're so easy to spot. There's no guessing where you should be doing it. It's just obvious. There it is. Well, that's the last one on this row, and then just knit to the end, the last 3 stitches. Okay, now I'm going to show you the final technique, and this is the cute little Picot cast off. So we're going to put 1 picot for every 3 stitches, and we start by, to make the picot you have to cast on a few, so you're going to do a knitted cast on twice. So we'll do 1, just as you did before, and there's another one, there it goes, and then you're going to cast off 5. So you cast off the original 3, and then there's 2 new ones, and this is how you do it. Knit into the first stitch, I've got my tail in the way there, and in the usual way just knit, and knit the second one, and pass that first stitch over the second one, and you'll cast off 1. Do it again, knit the next one, and then pass that stitch over the one you've just knitted, and you cast off 2. And if I lose count of whereabouts I am, I can see this is quite a gap here, so I know that's number 3. So knit the next one and bind off there to close the gap, and the next one, which is 4, and 1 more is 5. And there, I don't know if you can see the little picot, it becomes a little clearer. The next thing you have to do is really important to remember, to put that last stitch back onto the left hand needle. You're going to knit it again. You start by making that picot, cast on 2. There's 1, these 2 make the picot, and there's another, and then you're going to cast off those 2 plus 3, so it's 5. So knit the first one normally and the next one, and then pass that first one over the second, that's 1 cast off, and then knit the next one and pass that stitch over. That's 2. There's the big gap. So this is 3 to close the gap, and then 2 more. So that's 4 and 5. And then again, pass that one you've just worked back onto the left hand needle. And can you see the little picots appearing now? Let's do it again. Cast on 2, 1, and 2, and cast off 5. Knit that first one, knit the next one, and then pass that stitch over the first one, over the second one rather. Okay, that's really confused everybody now. And then do it again. You've cast off 1 so far. This is the second one. And 3 to close the gap. There's 3, and then 2 more. 4 and 5. And pass that stitch back onto the left hand needle. So you get into a nice little rhythm actually. Again, cast on 2, 1, and 2, and then cast off 5. Oops, going to lose that one. There's a 1, 2, close the gap, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay, and slip that stitch back onto the left hand needle. So a little row of picots there looking really cute. And again, cast on 2, and cast off 5. 1, 2, 3 to close the gap, and 4 and 5, and pass the stitch back again. So at this point I think you can see how it's going. I'm going to knit to the end, or bind off to the end, and I will join you back just before that point. Okay, here I am. I have now just passed this 5th stitch back onto the left hand needle, so I have 6 stitches remaining. So let's carry on. I'm casting on 2, and casting off 5, third one to close the gap, so now I have just 3 stitches left. Again, pass that onto the left hand needle, and again in the same way cast on 2, and now cast off all of these 5 remaining stitches. 1, 2, 3 to close the gap, and 4, and then the very last one is just going to be a case of cutting your yarn and feeding that last tail end through the last loop and pulling tight to end. Okay, there we go. And there we are. So I think you can see this is the cast on edge, and then the short rows have brought this increase down to a middle point. And what I like about this, the shape of this, makes it really easy to wear. Some shawls are so deeply pointy that I find that not easy to wear, but this one can be wrapped around your neck a few times, and it's quite shallow, so it doesn't go right down the way to your bum or anything. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the pattern. I'd love to see your photographs, hear your comments, and hopefully see you again very soon. Thanks so much for watching.